The Conference for the Gifted and Talented in Africa, which was held at the Hilton Hotel on the Monday, 27th August 2012, marked a significant leap in the realization of African gifted and talented. The highly ranked and well-attended conference, which was organized through combined efforts of the African Council for the Gifted and Talented, now African Federation for Gifted and Talented, the World Council for the Gifted and Talented Children, and DALC Education Trust, saw a large attendance by Kenya government, top officials from World Council for Gifted and Talented, as well as 17 other African countries attending. During the historic conference in Africa, and using emotive and eloquent speeches, many Kenyans and those from around Africa recollected the challenges that gifted people face in normal educational settings, as they are always mistaken by peers and foes alike. Many parents whose children could be seen to have potentials but limited by the old and traditional approach to education sighed deep breaths of relief as the gift and talent testing models came to provide them with answers they never knew where to get. If you missed this conference, we now sample for you some of the speeches and real-world cases.
I think this country deserves more and more of your effort, contribution, and also good programs for the gifted and talented students. Investment in gifted education becomes very important, especially after we have such economic crisis. And of course, once we have high quality gifted programs, the byproducts of such programs will improve and enhance the whole educational system.
We literally spend millions of dollars on other educational innovations and often ignore those kids who have the talents and the ability and the potential to change the world. Everybody in this room can probably think of a young person who had incredible talent, but they became turned off or alienated or disengaged and ended up not working to potential and often being involved in very unsavory pursuit.
You are a parent and you have one child, and the child is sick in the night, and you take the child to a doctor. His temperature is high. But in Africa, if you have high temperature, then everybody says you have malaria. So you take the child to get injection for malaria. So you can meet two doctors. A quack who will touch the forehead of your child and say, "Hey, you too sad. Shindano mara moja." So you get a quick injection. Then you can find another doctor that's a bit cautious, and he tells you, "I want to take a blood sample, test it in the laboratory, and confirm if it is malaria or typhoid." When you take your child to school, you need to ask yourself a few questions. Am I taking my child to school as a routine, just because my neighbor's children are also going and wearing uniform? Or am I investing? And any wise investor will consider some facts. What are going to be my returns after this investment?
For a long time, Africa has put emphasis on academic achievement, turning a blind eye to the talents and gifts that we possess. I think this is why Africa has been and is, for the most part, guilty of adopting a rigid educational system.
The gifted and talented are a very important group of learners. It is this group that must have made some of the greatest discoveries and inventions mankind has ever known.
It's unfortunate that in our primary schools in the country, at the end of 8 years in primary, we eliminate over 400,000 children or cadres in this country who score 250 and below. When we go to our secondary schools, ladies and gentlemen, we have over 250,000 KCP cadres who are eliminated because they score D and below. In our Republic of Kenya, when you score D and E, you don't talk when others are talking.
This is an age-old philosophy which should not be undermined, especially by those who make the mistake of thinking it's not possible to do all things well. It most certainly is. A strong extracurricular programme and a superb pastoral care programme is not an excuse for a less focused approach academically, or vice versa.
It is true that all children have talents. In fact, in creation, we are told that God gave everybody a talent. Our children have been sent through a prescribed program for them without consideration of their abilities and desires.
In a more holistic way, we are being taught today that it is not really the actual intellectual intelligence that is important, but the emotional intelligence and all these others, how people are able to manage their own skills and to come up with new knowledge.
There is therefore need for the provision of education by the stakes and all others which cater for the average gifted and talented learners. There is therefore need for the provision of education by the stakes and all others which cater for the average gifted and talented learners. Many students finish primary or secondary education without knowing exactly what they want to do in life due to lack of information and guidance. Some children do not require formal education but skill development, as this has been mentioned with the other speakers.
When I went to school, when I was young, the only testing they did to me was hang your hand, let us see whether it is touching your ears. Then it was found that my hand was too short, then I was sent back home. I stayed home crying. Sometimes I would follow my sister and I would sing to the teachers. They would buy for me 10 o'clock tea. And when I went formally to class 1, the first time I was number 1, and I was pushed to standard 2 because I was doing better. I don't know, maybe I'm gifted and talented. While recognizing that everybody has general ability to perform, we also recognize the fact that gifted and talented children have something that is standing out that needs to be recognized. At university level, we do not have special class. We don't have ability groupings. We talk about accelerated program, we don't have it, as well as enrichment programs. While gifted is noticeable by signs of developmental advancement, language proficiency, unusual alertness and attentiveness, curiosity, prolonged attention, there is still no agreement on how to determine who is gifted.
We know that we can identify the talent, we can nurture it, we can present it. But what else after Form 4? What else after Standard 8? What else after the university? Take for example, you have a very good, talented youth in your school. You know the child is very well talented, but what can you do as a principal? In other words, our hands are tied. Tied in terms of skills, tied in terms of finances, tied in terms of professionalism and the required personnel to help us do the job. The other challenge is the mean score maniac. I would call it a maniac because even today we are all struggling. We are national schools because we want that mean score. What is the position of the slow learner in this mean score? What is the fate of the slow learner? Repetition in our secondary schools, primary schools, is the normal thing of the day. You are a slow learner, talented. But what happens to you? Because you are always the last, you're getting a C, you're getting a D, you'll be told repeat. And that's why today we have so many of our schools having very many dropouts. The discrepancy between those transiting from the primary to the secondary level, from the secondary to the university level.
We have two scenarios. The first one is a student called Jack. He goes through high school, secondary school very well. He's a bright student, a straight A student, we may say. And from the way he does his assignments, his projects, his work, people are impressed and the teachers are impressed. Then he joins university. At university, things seem to take a different turn. And slowly begins to miss classes. Slowly he starts drinking. Slowly turns up for classes when he's drunk. And has missed a lot of the assignments that he was supposed to present in time. And then, because class is no longer interesting for him, he has found other things to entertain him out there, drinking, drugs, and maybe some girls. And later on, he hears some girls complaining that he has made them pregnant or he's their girlfriend and the like. The others have moved on. And for him not being able to cope, he decides to drop out. When he drops out, he finds that he can't go back home because he'll be an embarrassing to his community or his family. So he decides to join a gang in town and sell drugs and also engage in criminal activities as a way of earning a living. On the other hand, we have a student, let me call him Mark. Mark is not a very bright student in high school, secondary school, but he enjoys chatting with people, going around doing his things and pulling his swag and all that. Then he manages to identify college where he joins and does a program of his interest. And when he's there, he's a very social person, relates well with the people around him. However, at one time, he gets involved with a bad group, a bad peer group. And being with this kind of smartness that he has, he quickly is able to extract himself from that bad group and go back to whatever he was supposed to be doing. Now, as he is there, he identifies some business activities because of his creative ideas that he wants to run. And he starts selling second-hand merchandise to some of the students in school and making an extra coin. Now, by the time he is finishing college, he's already been offered a few jobs here and there because of his good network and his knowledge of people, social skills. And he's not really interested in that because he already has his businesses, ventures that he wants to pursue. So he graduates, completes, and after that, in spite of the job offers, he starts his own business, marries his life, and now embarks on building his business and building his family. I may ask you, where do you want to be if you are there in school? Don't give me the answer, think about it.
A gifted person, when you teach something today, they see them in 100 different ways. But more importantly, they see them in 100 years to come.
Want to know more? You can contact us at the African Federation for Gifted and Talented. You can also visit the nearest DALC Education campus